Tonight, we've hopefully brought to light the impact that films have made and can make on our lives as individuals and on society as a whole. And the Oscar goes to Parasite.
Welcome back to The Better Half. I'm Bradley J. Halverson, and here with me, she's my better half. It's Carly Corio. Hi, Carly.
Hi, Bradley.
Carly, we have a fun one today.
Yes, we do. One of my favorites. I have been thinking about it since we watched it, so I'm very excited to talk about it with you.
Yes, happy Parasite Day to all of us, to all who celebrate. Everyone hug your little parasite just a little closer today.
Do you feel like we have a parasitic relationship at all?
No, because I think maybe codependent, but like a parasite like feeds off its host, right? Like it enriches its own life at the expense of depleting the resources of the other human being. So
you're right.
I think we keep each other equally enriched, and we're not really like depleting. At
You're
least
right.
I hope so. I don't know.
No,
I do monopolize a lot of your time.
No, you're very right. I would say both ways we take from each other, but it doesn't deplete one another. So that's a good way to put it, and I agree.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about a film that the New York Times just earlier this year said was the best film of the 21st century.
Wow.
This is Parasite, directed by Bong Joon Ho, released in 2019. It won Best Picture at the 92nd Academy Awards, which took place on February 9th, 2020, which is the earliest the Oscars has ever happened, ever.
It's almost like they knew that starting March, the whole world would shut down. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a little suspicious. Like the Hollywood elite, they knew what was coming.
Yes, they're like, let's do this early February. Wink, wink, wink.
But yeah, this is a film. This is the first one that we're covering where I have seen it first. Went to go see this one in theaters, and Carly has not seen it.
Never.
And we were able to watch this one together virtually on a FaceTime call. So we're just so spoiled with what we're able to do. Yeah.
Technology has really helped us. And I think with this new method that we learned how to watch together, I think it'll be rare that we don't watch a movie together.
So I was like, Carly, we have to watch this one together. Like, I need to see your facial reactions. So, and before we get into it, I do want to give just a small disclaimer. You know, this is a South Korean film. It is a non-English speaking film with some exceptions. There's a few lines in English dropped. And we don't know why.
Every time they would say anything in English, I'd be like, oh, I understood that. Oh,
now that.
Oh, loud and clear, got it. And it was like a rare quote here and there, a rare sentence, and it really had nothing to do with the plot. So Brad and I would be like, why did they do that? But
why did they do that?
But yes.
Yeah, so, you know, of course, all the characters' names are in Korean. So during our recap and throughout this whole episode, like, we did our due diligence. We've done our best to be able to pronounce these names as accurately as possible and not trying to be too American about it. But I'm sure we're not going to perfectly get it right. So please forgive us in advance. And another little disclaimer as well. And not to, you know, forecast how Carly and I feel about this movie too much, but this is a good film, okay? Yeah. And we're about to literally go through it from start to finish. And because this only came out, 5-6 years ago, you may feel like, oh, that's a movie that I've heard about, that's been on my list. It is Carly's and I recommendation that you genuinely just go and watch this movie. And when you're done, come back to this podcast.
We don't say this often, but no. Turn us off right now and go watch it if you want the full experience. Yes. The gasps I gasped while watching this film could not be replaced. We love you, but get out of here if you want to watch the movie, okay? And we'll see you later.
Yeah, we'll still be right here, still talking to each other. 100%. With that said, welcome back from watching the movie. Your mind's probably reeling. So at the center of Parasite, as we get started, is the Kim family. This is your classic sort of mom, dad, son, daughter. I'm going to walk you through who those folks are. The dad is Ki-tae. The mom is Chung-suk. The daughter is Ki-jung. And the son is Ki-woo. I would say the children are both like, I would say teenager-esque, probably on the cusp of going to university or like having plans like post high school. And this family of four lives together in like a basement apartment. Like it's kind of hard to describe, but they are definitely like subterranean. Like when you see out their windows are just like half blocked by the street. Like they can only see like a couple of feet above the ground.
They are eye level with the street where they live.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
When they stand up in their house, their eyes are on the street.
Yep, and they're like running around. They're trying to get phone signal because again, they are subterranean. And their bathroom design, I don't know if this is typical Korean bathroom design, but like the toilet is like up on a stand, like it's like 8 feet off the ground.
Again, they're eye level with their toilet. When they're standing on the ground, they have to climb 2 large 2-foot steps to get to their toilet.
Things are moving pretty quickly here. So the family are all trying to get a phone signal. The family is like learning how to fold pizza boxes because they are attempting to earn some money, but they unfortunately like don't fold these super well.
They're not
and the
good
pizza
at it.
lady is like, "You're hurting our brand." It's like, calm down, pizza lady. I think what we're supposed to take away is that this family is lower income. They have to rely on being scrappy and some of these side gigs in order to earn some income to maintain their way of living. Well, and they're not always successful.
You hear in this opening scene, along with them kind of like figuring stuff out, they say that like they were taking Wi-Fi from someone, but they're like, oh, she put a password on it. And they're like, well, what's the password? Did you try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? And they're like, yes. So, and then they're like, oh, so we need to find it somewhere else. So you can already see this leeching of sorts, parasitic relationship that they have. So yeah, it's a good intro to kind of in 10 minutes see what the family's all about.
Yeah, and I will say, like, interpersonally, like, they seem pretty close. Like, they seem pretty, like, tight-knit. They're not kind of, like, navigating the world as if they are victims or that they see themselves as victims or that they are less than anyone else. And they really do care about one another. So I think that's quickly established as well. And so a family friend stops by, Min. He comes in carrying this, like, big, heavy box. He drops it on the table, and they open it up, and it's, like, this big rock. I don't know. It's called the Scholar's Rock. It looks like it's just kind of like a fancy looking like boulder.
And it's in like a fancy box. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's like in a fancy box and you're like, what's in there? And then you open it and you literally just see a rock.
Yeah. And so again, this culturally might be like something more significant because the family does like look at this and they're like, oh, wow, this is like significant. Like they weren't necessarily like, oh, can we like sell this or pawn this off? Like Ki-woo, the son in particular, seems to really like this rock. And in fact, you know, when this movie started, I told Carly, I was like, I think this rock could be the emoji of the movie without giving her any other context as to why. We'll just leave you on that little cliffhanger there. But just know there's a big rock. And the son loves it.
Loves.
And speaking of the son, so Min and Ki-woo, they go out and get some like dinner. And Min is explaining that he's about to go study abroad. And lately he's been tutoring this daughter of a wealthy family, and he can no longer tutor her because he's going to go study abroad. And he's looking at Ki-woo and he's like, well, you know, I could recommend you like to take over my tutoring duties. And Ki-woo is like, well, I haven't been to university. Like I have no credentials. Like I have no qualifications to do so. And it's basically like, yeah, but you can figure it out.
Yeah. So,
you know. And so, you know, Ki-woo does, you know, see an opportunity here to like earn some money. So he enlists his sister, Ki-jung, who we stan on this podcast.
Love.
She's very tech savvy. So we see her kind of like in an internet cafe, but she's like forging this like resume, this document to make it look like Ki-woo did come from university, that he has all these qualifications to be a tutor. And so under this false pretense, we see Ki-woo head off to the Park family. And they live in a very nice house. And this is not subterranean. This is perfectly above ground. And he meets with the housekeeper of this family, Mong Wang, who Carly and I affectionately refer to as Peaches, and
Love.
probably will throughout. But more on that later. And she's walking Ki-woo through this like gorgeous house. I mean, it's like wide open, very modern, wide open spaces. I mean, the living room has one wall that's just a window to their backyard. Just like from floor to ceiling is a giant window. Their furniture, there was no TVs that I saw, so that was a big red flag for me. Their furniture is just pointed at the big window. When they go up the steps to the main floor, there's like some overhead lights that go on, like motion censored as they go up the stairs. Their kitchen's wide open. They have like this big doorway that leads to their basement. And that's really just like the main floor. And so the housekeeper is kind of walking around, and she literally has to go out in the backyard where the rich mom, Mrs. Park, is just like asleep at a table in the backyard. And Mung Wayne has to literally like clap in her face to get her to wake up. Now, Min had already warned Ki-woo. He was like, the mom, in Min's words, she's a bit simple.
Simple.
So we're already kind of primed to think like, okay, what is this rich lady going to be about? So Mrs. Park, she sits down with Ki-woo for like an interview kind of style. She was like, well, you know, we loved Min. If he recommends you, then we just trust you already. She's like, I do want to see you tutor her, and I want to watch you. Like, I want to shadow. And so she does. She sits in on Ki-woo's like first tutoring lesson with the rich daughter, whose name is Da-hai. And it goes well. Like, at some point, Ki-woo kind of catches her like just answering incorrectly. He has this moment with her where he like touches her wrist to like feel her pulse, and he's like, when you're lying, you know, your pulse will quicken or whatever. Apparently there's like chemistry between these two characters, which I was very confusing for Carly and I, because we were like, wait, how old is she?
Yes.
But our best guess, and the one that we're comfortable with, is that they're both like high schoolers. Like, they're both like within a few years of each other.
Yeah. Both either just below of age or exactly of age to be having a relationship.
Because yeah, you would think like it's a tutoring relationship, right? So I think in your mind you always view it as like, oh, like someone older tutoring someone younger, and I'm sure that is what's happening here, but I don't think the age gap is significant. But you could tell like Da-hai like immediately has a little bit of a crush on Ki-woo. Like, she loves this like little wrist pulse moment. But Ki-woo, he's hired, he's in.
Done. Signed.
And I think maybe sometime later, maybe this happens like almost immediately, but as she kind of walks Ki-woo out of the house, she's talking about her son, Da-sung, who is much younger, and he's going through this big Indian phase, you know, very ouch, oops.
By Indian, we mean Native American, Indians, teepees,
Yes.
Feathers, all of the ouch, oops of that culture.
Apparently, Da-sung here is an artist. The mom has like one of his framed children's art in the hallway, and like looking at it, it's like, oh, like this is bad. Like, this is exactly what you expect a child's art to look like, and she reveres it and puts it on the wall. I don't think I would be this kind of parent. I think I would be like, this is ugly. This doesn't even get to go on the fridge.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, you know, she's explaining to Ki-woo, Mrs. Park is, she's like, you know, I wish he had like an art teacher, somebody who could really help him like refine his skills, because there are none. And Ki-woo is like, oh, wait a second. He was like, I know someone.
Like, without a
Her
beat.
name's Jessica.
Yes.
Yeah. We should say too, Ki-woo is there under the name of Kevin.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I know this girl. Her name's Jessica. Like, she's a fabulous art teacher, has all these credentials. And this Jessica he's referring to is his sister, Ki-jung. So this is the way in which now the sister is getting integrated into the family. And you can start to kind of see where this movie is heading, you know? So some time later passes, and Ki-woo and Ki-jung show up to the house. Now Ki-jung is like all decked out, her art teacher disguise. And before Ki-woo can ring the doorbell, she like stops him, pulls his hand back, and then this iconic scene in the film where she kind of holds up two fingers, and then they go through this like song they came up together where she's like, Jessica, only child, Chicago, Illinois. And then it gets faster and faster and faster. Probably one of the most iconic scenes from this movie.
Yes.
It's what made me love Jessica Ki-jung, like immediately. Like, there's just something so cool about her.
I think when that happened, you were like, man, we love Jessica, or something like that. I just know you were like, I love Jessica.
Yeah, she's definitely coming in where like Ki-woo, I think, is a little bit, I mean, he's good at sort of faking it as well. But she just seems like a natural at this sort of like con artist, lying straight to your face. She's good. And so she gets in there. She has a session with Da-sung, the little boy. She gets him to draw something for her. And so that night she has a debrief with Mrs. Park, the mom, shows him one of these paintings. And I swear, Jessica, she like pulls this straight out of her ass. She was like, oh my God, do you see this little blob in the corner? She was like, something really traumatic must have happened to him like in the first grade. And the mom's like, has this like big reaction to that. But clearly like something must have happened to Da-sung in the first grade. So Jessica just pulls out all this like psychobabble.
Very much like when somebody's talking to like a psychic and they're like, yeah, do you have a mom? And they're like, oh my God, I do.
God, I do.
Exactly. It had very much vibes like that. She's like, oh my gosh.
She's like, you're hired.
Yeah. Amazing.
So Jessica stays there so late that Mr. Park shows up. This is our introduction to the rich dad, or rich daddy, if you will. And he's arriving to the house with their chauffeur. And so Mr. Park is getting introduced to Jessica here, going to be an art teacher. He doesn't seem super interested, but it's pretty late. And so they do offer for their chauffeur to drive Jessica home. And she's like, oh, I love that idea.
Before she leaves, Mrs. Park is like, so I actually think that you should come 4 times a week for 2 hours at a time. And I think that's like quadruple what they had originally planned. So again, Jessica's like money in her eyes. She's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So she's really feeling herself. And then yes, the chauffeur's like, they offer the chauffeur to take her home.
And this drive home is perfectly ordinary. You know, he's driving her home. They're talking about like where exactly they need to drop her off. But Jessica here in the backseat, she subtly and slowly takes off her underwear and leaves it behind.
And I was like, wait, what is she doing?
Like right to you, Carly. I was like, what do you think that's about?
Yeah, and you're like, just wait.
And so the next day, you know, Mr. Park is being driven around by the chauffeur in the exact same car, and where he quickly discovers and uses like a pen to sort of like pull this like pair of underwear out from underneath the seat. And so Mr. Park comes to the conclusion and talks to his wife later that night in this very comical scene about two rich people trying to discuss the machinations of their chauffeur.
Quotes from the conversation. He must be a pervert. He likes it in the car.
They're like, what kind of woman just like forgets her underwear? Who could do that? And Mr. Park's like, oh, I think I know exactly what kind of person this is. And he goes over and he whispers it into Mrs. Park. It's just the two of them in the kitchen. And he whispers it and she immediately bursts out. She's like, oh my God, meth or cocaine? It's comical, but it really does highlight just the judgment, the immediate sort of like, they see this thing, it's unusual, and they come to all these conclusions, and they're very much judgmental of and accusatory of what their chauffeur is doing, somebody who's in service of them, being a paid employee of them. And so I think that is important to keep in mind. And Jessica is like around the corner actually listening to some of this. Mrs. Park, as she walks Jessica out, she's like asking her, trying to like subtly ask her all these questions about the chauffeur. Like, hey, how was your drive home the other night? Is everything okay? So you never even see the Parks talk to the chauffeur himself, like get his side of the story, bring up this issue. They instead go to Jessica and they ask her, and they're like talking about him behind his back. Jessica's like, oh, well, everything was all hunky-dory with me. But she's like, but if you're looking for a new driver, potentially, I know a guy. And so here we go again. Yep. Who's the new driver? Who is she recommending? It's her dad, Kite. So they quickly fire that chauffeur, sorry to him. And so now the Kim patriarch has been integrated into the family as the new chauffeur. And he does pretty decently. We see a couple of scenes of him driving Mr. Park around. Yeah. Mr. Park is like, wow, you drive so great. Your turns are so smooth or whatever. So at this point, we got the son, we got the daughter, we got the father. There's only one person left to go.
And I think at this point I was like, and I think it was like, oh, the dad. And then Brad's like, who do you think, where's the mom gonna go? So it is, you like definitely start to see this. And it was kind of the first, not the first point, but probably the key point where I was like, this movie is good, Good,
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we've already established the housekeeper, Peaches, Mong Wang. You get the sense that she's been not only with this family for a long time, but she's just been like with this house for a long time. She knows the original architect, has stories about him and everything. So she's been like well established. She's not going to be easy to get out.
Yeah.
Not as easy as the chauffeur. But the Kim family starts to turn their eyes onto her and what dastardly thing they could come up with. It should be noted too in one of Ki-woo's sessions with Dahai, but they like full on kiss. So we're also learning that they have a secret relationship. And Dahai also talks about like, oh, well, you can't have any peaches in the house. It's a forbidden fruit. And he's like, oh, why can't there be any peaches? And we learn like, oh, well, Mong Wang, the housekeeper, is like allergic to peaches.
And his eyes light up.
And this is where Carly's like, oh my God, does she die?
Oh my God. Yeah, I said, oh my God, they're going to kill her.
Are they going to kill her?
Not peaches.
So instead, we get like a quick little montage of Ki-woo and Ki-jong, our siblings in crime here. They're like shaving off peach shavings. Like, I don't know, like peach skin.
They somehow turn peaches into dust.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if they take the fuzz off the outside of a peach, but it literally becomes a small dust, a very light dusting of peach. in this little vial.
Like Meng Wang, I too am so deathly allergic to peaches and most fruits and most vegetables. So I genuinely have no idea.
It's unbelievable, Brad. The most bizarre thing about our friendship is how you're allergic to all healthy food.
It's been such a burden. Like, I can't even describe for you how much I desire tasting a broccoli.
I know you hate
I can
that.
never. So they get these like peach shavings into a little vial, and then they just, between Kevin and Jessica, they subtly just like flick dust, flick this peach fuzz onto Meng Wan's like the back of her neck as they're walking by. But they start to trigger her allergies, and so she goes to the hospital where the dad's already set up. He's already established. They're like in a large sort of waiting room lobby, and the dad goes to take it looks like he's just taking a selfie, but he has Meng Wang in the background. And that's because later in the day, he's going to meet up with Mrs. Park, and he's like, hey, I just was at the hospital and I saw your housekeeper there. And he was like, I wasn't trying to listen to her phone call or anything, but it sounded like she has TB, tuberculosis.
She said it's TB, it's tuberculosis. Yeah. Like, he totally makes this up, but it was like, she was on the phone and I didn't mean to overhear, but she said it's tuberculosis.
And our sweet but naive Mrs. Park, she was like, I didn't know people still got that. Oh my God, like my kids. And to help really seal the deal, sometime later at the house, they trigger Meng Wang's allergy again. She starts having like a big coughing fit. She grabs a tissue, she coughs into it. And the timing of this is like impeccable. Like, I cannot believe they pulled this off. But as she's sort of like having a coughing fit, Mrs. Park is arriving with the dad, Kite. They see that she's coughing. She throws this tissue in the trash can, and she goes to like step outside. And the dad is like already ahead of the mom heading into the house. And he quickly goes over to the trash can, opens the lid, and like pours some like red hot sauce looking thing onto the tissue. And then he very dramatically pulls the tissue out and makes it look like she was coughing up blood.
So funny. At which time Mrs. Park is like,
oh my God, yeah, her dramatics.
Disgusted.
Yeah. Hand over her mouth, like horrified.
Yeah.
And so then we get some audio-less montage, some scenes of just seeing Mrs. Park talk to Meng Wang, to Peaches, and firing her, and she's devastated.
It's very sad. I think I even said, this is very sad. And then I wrote, housekeeper kicked out 3 sad faces in my notes. It was very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is really, as an audience member, as a viewer of this movie, like, you're really having like fun with the characters, because all this is really being presented as lighthearted. But I think this is like the first moment that you start to be like, oh, I actually feel a little bad here. Like, it's like you want to root for the Kims. Like, you can't believe they're getting away with it. But then you start to realize, like, oh, there are other people being affected by this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the rich family who are suffering here. It's the other service members. It's the other, you would imagine, like, lower income people who are just trying to make a buy, who just lost, between the chauffeur and Meng Wang, like, they both just lost their jobs because of the Kim family.
And the housekeeper really has lost her home. I mean, she has lived there. And I think they do show her just walking down a dark street with a bag, like, they just really milk how sad this is. And But next we see
the Kim matriarch, Chung Suk. She gets in there. She's now the new housekeeper and cook. And so the whole family is now just completely, in a parasitic way, has just fully taken over this house. Seemingly they get away with it. And we see that the Parks, some time has passed, but the Parks are planning for a little trip. It's Dasong's birthday is coming up. And so they love to take him, camping. Unfortunately, I'm deathly allergic to camping as well. So I just...
another one of the sad things about you.
My burden to bear. And so the Park family all leaves, and they're leaving the house in the care of Chung Suk, their new housekeeper. And come nighttime, the Park family's gone, and the Kim family is party. They got all sorts of food, alcohol, everything. They're out in the living room just like having the time of their lives in this like rich house, and like acting as if like they're the ones who live there, doing
whatever they want. I think Ki-woo at one point takes out and reads Dahai's
diary.
Yes, you're just like, oh, they're just doing whatever the hell they want. Continuing again, this parasitic, it's getting worse and worse and more intense.
Jessica, she's just full on drinking, like straight from the bottle. Like they're all just drunk, tipsy, goofing off. At one point, the dad just sweeps everything off the table. They're just making a huge mess in this house. And then the doorbell rings.
It had started raining.
Yes. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it had started raining, and I even clocked. I'm like, uh-oh. Their camping trip's gonna get canceled, and Brad's like, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
And then, the doorbell rings, and Brad said this. Brad said, and the movie starts. And I was like, what? So, the doorbell rings. Who do you think it is?
Yeah, it's Peaches. It's our girl.
I did not expect this, by the way. So
no, I mean, I don't know how anyone could expect what's about to happen.
And I'll say, moving forward in the movie, every single thing that happens, I could say, I did not expect that, by the way.
So Chung Sok, of course, is the one taking care of the house. So she goes to answer the doorbell. And they got like a little video rig camera, I guess. I don't know. So Chung Sok could see that it's the old housekeeper. It's Meng Wang who's at the door. And it's like a really funny close-up, unflattering shot of Meng Wang's face in this like video camera feed. It'll be on the socials for sure. And Peaches is like, hey, she's like, I know you're the new housekeeper or whatever. Congrats to you. She's like, I left something behind. You know, she's like, I know the Parks are away. I saw them all leave. And so I know they're gone. I'm just wondering if I can just pop in real quick. I left something behind. I'll be so quick, please.
She said, I forgot something in the basement.
Yes. And she did. And so Chung Sok kind of looks back at her family and they're like, what do we do? And they're like, and they kind of just like shrug their shoulders. So the other 3 Kim family members, they go to like hide a little bit. And Chung Sok lets Peaches into the house, and you know, she doesn't see anything in the living room. She doesn't see the big mess or anything like that. She kind of like beelines it straight over to the kitchen where the entrance to the basement is. And it's a very creepy shot here because she stops just at the doorway. And I'll say like this doorway, I don't know how to explain it, but like the access point into the basement is just this dark pit. It's just like you can't see anything beyond. It's spooky. And Chung Sok's like, are you sure you're gonna be like super quick or whatever? And Peaches like stops, turns back, smiles in this very creepy way. And she's like, do you want to come in the basement and help me? And Chung Sok's like, fuck no.
No.
So then Peaches just disappears into the basement and the camera does not follow her down there. We get the sense that like more time than normal has passed and she has still not come back up from the basement. And so now Chung Sok is like, has to go down there. And so the family kind of like Scooby-Doo-esque like creeps behind her. But Chung Sok goes down there into the basement to a site that is going to be hard to describe. Peaches is like parallel to the ground.
Yeah.
She's up off the ground. Her feet are up against the wall and she is trying to force with all of her might against this like giant sort of curio-esque
bookcase thing.
Bookcase, shelf. Yeah. Storage thing. This big wooden thing. And she's like trying to move it in the most bizarre way possible. And Chung Sok is like, what the actual hell are you doing? Peaches is like, help me, please help me move this, help me move it. And so Chung Sok goes over and she realizes there's like a metal tray, a metal plate or something that's like wedged this thing shut or whatever. So when she yanks that out, suddenly this curio cabinet moves on its own, like finally moves.
Peaches is so dumb.
Makes Peaches fall straight on her face.
Yeah. This
cabinet just, it's like a secret passageway and it just suddenly reveals that there is somehow a bunker in this house.
You see a long hallway.
Yes.
It doesn't open
creepy
just to this
lighting.
Room. Yeah.
And this is like truly the moment in the movie that is, what is going on anymore? Like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
Because Meng Wang, after literally landing on her face, pops back up and she's like calling for someone. She's like, I'm here. And she's like going, and Chung Sok's like,
what?
Just runs after her, right? And the Kim family, of course, still Scooby-Dooing it, just like doop, 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 doop. And we go down this like long corridor. We're following both the women down, they're turning here. There's a long stairwell even further down. When they get down those stairs, we find out that there has just been a man living in this bunker this entire time. And it is the husband of Peaches, who we call Mr. Peaches.
Mr. Peaches. He's been there for 4 years, we learn.
We get a lot of exposition really quickly. And she's like, Meng Wang is explaining all of it to Chung Sok while her family is around the corner on the stairwell eavesdropping. But Peaches, she explains that like, this is her husband. He's been here for years. He owes a lot of money to these loan sharks who are after him. So he's been living here. This was like built in, the original architect like built this in. The Park family has no idea that it's ever existed here. And so this has been their hideout space. And at night, Mr. Peaches will come up and he has a way to get out into the house from the inside. But he couldn't these last few days because it was wedged shut. But he will sneak in at night and like steal some of their food. And here's another example of sort of a parasitic relationship of somebody who is literally in the bowels of this home, who is like stealing your food and stealing your resources and to sustain himself at the expense of the folks that live there. Now, as a viewer, you're like, wait, what? And suddenly you realize, like, when Peaches was fired, she was probably freaking out because she now had no way to get back to her husband, who's, like, stuck.
Yeah. And I think she brought food in her bag.
Yes, she would bring food, yeah.
Well, and even, like, this time when she was going to save him, I think she had a bunch of food in her bag. She's like, here, eat.
Yeah, we had to watch this man, like, eat a banana, which I actually did not care for.
Oh, yeah, it was very disturbing.
And she's, like, pleading. Peaches is pleading with Chung-suk, like, please don't tell the Parks. Like, please just, like, let me in a couple of times a week so I can bring him some food and nobody has to know and we can just move on with our lives. And as she's pleading, I think it was Ki-woo, I think it was Kevin, but they slip on the stairs and they all come tumbling down.
Yeah.
And they are flat out revealed. Mong-wen, Peaches, of course, recognizes all of these people who have been coming in and out of the house, who suddenly all have jobs. And she just cracked the case in a second. She knows exactly what's happening here. And suddenly the power dynamic flips. Suddenly, like, she pulls out her phone immediately. She starts recording all of them right then and there. And she's like, I will send this to the Park family right now and reveal your lies and your story. So we better keep each other safe. Because now it's the Kim family that's, like, begging. We quickly jump away from this to suddenly see the family. They're all now up in the living room. And it's Peaches and Mr. Peaches who are up on the couch, like, laying around, and because they got all the power with their phone and to send this text. And the whole Kim family is literally on their knees in the living room with their hands up.
Yeah.
And this dynamic plays out for a little while, but then the phone rings. So Chung-suk, who is the only one who should be in the house, goes to answer it. And it's Mrs. Park. He was like, we got rained out, and Dasong's he's like so upset that we're not camping, and it's his birthday, so I want you to make him his favorite dish, and I want you to have it hot and ready to go by the time we arrive, which will be in 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
So, as Carly predicted, the rain did impact the Parks family, and now they are on the way. And this creates immediate chaos. The Kims are now struggling with the Peaches, and meanwhile, Chung-suk is the only one, though, that has to, like, literally prepare this dish. She's like, how the F do I make this?
No idea.
She's never made it before.
Well, and the whole house is a mess because they had stuff thrown everywhere, so you immediately see all of the Kim family, they're just running around, cleaning, trying to get things back to normal.
And they grab a box of, like, peaches, and as they're trying to, like, subdue Peaches, they just throw a bunch of peaches, like, onto her face. And they get Mr. Peaches, like, subdued and, like, tied up. And the dad, Ki-tae, he kind of takes them both down into the basement.
Oh, yeah, and, like, ties them up.
Yes, yeah. Well, initially, like, he's almost getting them into the bunker, but they're just in the basement. Meanwhile, Ki-woo, Kevin, he has to run back up to Dahai's bedroom to return the diary. Jessica, Ki-jong, she is cleaning up the entire living room because, again, it's just a flat-out mess. The Chung-suk is making the dinner, and so the dad is struggling to get both Peaches into the bunker, and the Parks show up. Ki-woo has to hide under the bed of Dahai because he didn't get out of the room quick enough. Jessica hides, like, under the living room table. She does manage to clean up everything. Chung-suk's in the kitchen. That's where she's meant to be. But in the basement, Peaches, she runs up the basement stairs and is going to try to reveal her presence. Just as the Parks are coming up the stairs into the main floor, and Chung-suk, like, must hear Peaches about to, coming up the stairs. And so Peaches, as she reaches the top of the stairs, Chung-suk just kicks her back down the stairs.
Awesome scene. Like, kicked her and she just immediately falls backwards. You don't see her anymore.
And so the Parks arrive. The kids immediately go up to their bedroom. They're not even interested in the food that Chung-suk is preparing.
The boy eats none of the food his mom said he was craving.
Yeah, and she eats it all instead. And meanwhile, Ki-tae, Mr. Kim, he gets both Peaches into the bunker, closes the door. He does tie up Mr. Peach, and he kind of leaves Mrs. Peach because she's like, she just hit her head really hard from falling down the stairs. She's kind of immobile.
And her face is, like, swollen, scabbed.
Swollen, bloody. Yeah, it's all just...
From
Peaches
the peach infestation as well as falling down a large set of stone steps.
So Mr. Peach is, like, tied up, but he heads over to these, like, 3 buttons on the wall, and he starts smashing his forehead against one and against the other and against the third. While upstairs, you can kind of hear the Park family, like, on the stairs heading into their home. And we learn that these, like, motion sensor lights that are above their stairwell are actually not motion sensor at all. It has always been Mr. Peach in the basement, hearing their footsteps and hitting the light that turns them on. So he's explaining all this and also explaining to Mr. Kim that he was like, you and I, our generation, we would know this, but I'm using Morse code. And he's like, the Song, who's a Boy Scout, who's also very into all of this, like, he would know Morse code. And upstairs, you just see, like, Mrs. Park, our naive lady, she's like, oh, the light's on the fritz again.
Eating her ramen, and she's like, the light's going off and on again. Meanwhile, this guy downstairs, Mr. Peaches, his head is bloodying.
Yeah.
He's hitting him so hard.
Hitting him. Yeah, he's trying to sort of SOS for help. And so some time passes here where the Kims are still kind of stuck there, but the dad does get out of the bunker. He also kind of removes like the door handle from the inside so that the Peaches can't escape. But he manages to get to the main floor. Kevin manages to get out of his girlfriend's room, returns the diary. But the dad, Kevin and Jessica, they both end up under this like large coffee table in the living room, and they're kind of stuck there because the little boy, Desong, he sets up his tent in the backyard now. He wants to sleep outside. And so this makes his parents, the Parks, want to sort of lay on the couch and sleep out there to keep an eye on him.
And something to note, it is not a tent. It is a Native American themed teepee. To continue with this.
We're not going to let this 8-year-old get away with his ouch oops.
Right.
Okay. Not on our watch.
And it's still pouring down rain, by the way.
Yeah, this kid is insane to me.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing that Chung Suk can do because she still has to like play the role as the housekeeper and stuff. So, but all the other 3 Kims, they're trapped under this living room table because the Parks are literally right there. They're both laying together in kind of like spooning-esque position. And before anything spicy happens, though, they're having a conversation that is being overheard by the dad. And basically the Parks are sort of talking about the smell people have. Mr. Park is like, I've noticed it with our new driver. Like he has this smell. Like people who ride the subway have this smell. It's disgusting. I hate that smell.
Yeah.
And Mr. Kim hears all of this, and you can tell like it's deeply affecting him.
Yeah, they show his face, and you could tell there's like shame. There's his mind is racing, and he's just, you could tell he's shameful for what he's hearing.
So again, another instance of rich people just being very judgmental and being very just awful people, and when they think they're alone in their own home.
Right.
And then immediately after this, Mr. Park starts like fondling Mrs. Park's breast, and they start like fucking.
Over the clothes fucking.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So that happens for like 20 minutes. And the whole Kim family has to just like sit there and listen. But
yeah.
By the time they finally nod off, the Kims finally do manage to escape from this place. It's still pouring down. It is like monsoon raining. Like it is bad. And so the 3 Kims rush to their home, and Carly, you called it immediately, like, because the street was just flooded. A lot of people who lived on the street were out on the street trying to like with buckets trying to like get the water out.
Yeah.
And so the Kims were like, oh no, did we leave a window open? Did we, and you already kind of can know what happens, but their entire sort of basement apartment here is flooded, like up to their like chest.
Up to the toilet.
Like, up to that very high toilet. That was also just spouting black.
Yeah, black like sewage and
liquid.
I think at some point, I don't know if it was one of the Kims or somebody on the street was like, this is all sewage. Like all the water that was in the street, like it wasn't just rainwater. It was everything was coming up from the streets.
Yeah, so this is pretty devastating. Kiwoo does find like that big giant rock, remember from the beginning of the recap?
Yeah, and it was floating. This big rock was floating on top of the water, which...
You're so right.
As I read more about the rock, I think we'll talk about the rock later, but something to think about. But it was just floating on top, and Kevin's like, oh, my rock. And that's one of the only things they really take from the home.
Yeah, because them and literally like it looks like hundreds of others, they all have to go sleep in like a gym, like a local gymnasium, and this place is like filled with people who are displaced because of the storm. So it's terrible conditions. And there is like a night scene. Heejung, Jessica, she's asleep already, but between the dad and the son of their lives, like Kevin is like holding onto this rock like it's a baby. Like he has this thing like cradled against him, and Kevin's, I think, expressing to his dad, like he wishes that he could fix these things, that he could make it better. And his dad's like, it's better to just have no plan in life at all because every plan will fail. So if you just don't hold these expectations, then you can never fail and you can never be hurt and you can never be a victim of life because you never planned to try to be anything different.
Yep. He said the best plan is no plan. Well, and 2, I don't know if you're going to get to this, but Mr. Kim is like, also, why do you keep clinging to that rock? Again, Kevin's like holding it. And then Kevin says, no, the stone keeps clinging to me and following me. So that was, I think, between the plan, no plans, and that it was a good like heart to heart that they both had. And I think it, again, sets up kind of the next part of the movie.
Yeah, you can see in Kevin's mind the gears are starting to turn. We just don't yet know turning in what direction.
Yeah.
But the movie doesn't keep us waiting for too long, because the next day is actually Desong's birthday over with the rich family. And so this mom activates immediately. She's like, we're going to have a backyard party. It's going to, of course, be Native American themed.
Well, and you cut right to this house. Again, we were just in this gymnasium. Everyone's...
Oh, yeah.
And then you cut right to this house. It's a beautiful sunny day the next day. And Mrs. Park actually says, I wrote it down, it's a beautiful day after all of that rain. So again, the difference in class and, you know, difference in experiences that a big rain can have and what the result is. And then, yeah, she's immediately like, oh, we're going to throw this big party. And again, let's think about priorities this morning of the two different families, and even just the attitudes. Like, I think you slowly see all the Kims start to arrive for work, and they're all just like sullen and they are all sad, but the Parks are like, party, let's do it.
Yes, and you can see this even because she gets Mr. Kim to come with her to basically drive her. She has got to run all these errands to prepare for the party, and you can just see it in their attitudes. Like, she's walking around being like, oh, hey, hi, you know, no fish heads for me. You know, she's walking around the market, and he's just much more solemn. You could just tell because his apartment just flooded.
Yeah.
He has to run around and help this rich family have this extravagant party for an 8-year-old, you know? And so the mother, again, she's quickly getting this thing all brought together. She's having Chung Suk grab all these large tables from the basement, arrange them all outside in this really particular way. She's inviting Kevin. She's inviting Jessica to come to the party. All of her rich friends and family are coming. So this party quickly comes together. And so while everybody is outside, we see Kevin inside with Dahai. And she's like, I could tell your mind is elsewhere right now. Like, when you kiss me, you're not here. Like, what's going on? Like, what are you thinking about? And he's like, I just got to go take care of something, babe. Because the next thing we see is Kevin starts to head down into the basement. Again, everybody is outside in the backyard, so nobody's in the house. And Kevin does have the big rock with him. And he goes down into the bunker. Again, this was locked from the inside. The Peaches could not escape. And he starts to head down here. It's silent. It's creepy. And when he gets to those stairs that he once tumbled down, this time he does kind of trip again. And he just drops the rock all the way down those stairs, completely alerting anybody in the vicinity that he's here. So Kevin goes all the way down the steps, grabs the rock again, and kind of looks around. We should say too, we did check in on the Peaches during the night of the big storm. Mr. Peaches was tied up, and Mrs. Peaches was not doing well. She was kind of laying there, a little conscious, bad shape. She was telling him I think I have a concussion. I can't see anymore. So we were kind of left on this cliffhanger by the time Kevin arrives down there with the rock. And he kind of approaches the immobile body of Mrs. Peaches, who we learn did pass away in the night.
Rest in Peaches.
Yeah. Carly, please, she's dead. And you were cheering for this outcome the whole movie.
I very early was like, oh my God, Peaches is going to die. When they started poisoning her, and then the whole movie, I was like, oh my God, does she die now? Does she die now? And she did die. And it's not that I was hoping for it. I just was hoping that I called it correctly.
Yeah, and she really does blame all of this on Chung Suk, and that's the name she leaves with Mr. Peaches.
Oh, yeah.
As she dies as well. So as Kevin's kind of slowly approaching this body, we just kind of see this zip tie sort of noose looking thing over Kevin's head. It's an upward angle shot, and it just goes right over Kevin's head, pulls him back. And it's Mr. Peaches. He has gotten free, and the movie suddenly just becomes very violent.
Yeah.
He tries to tie up Kevin by his neck, basically, but Kevin gets away from him. He drops the rock and is sprinting up the stairs, trailing behind this long piece of I don't know what it is, a zip tie, a rope or whatever. And Mr. Peaches is giving chase. He picks up the rock. He chases after Kevin, going up these stairs, everything. And Kevin manages to get into the basement before he's violently yanked back, because Mr. Peaches did catch up to him. And as Kevin falls onto his back, Mr. Peaches runs to the basement with the rock above his head and slams it.
Into his skull.
Picks it up and then hits him again. And Kiwoo's head's bleeding or whatever. And Mr. Peaches too, his face is all bloody too. His eyes are wide. He is feral. And he goes upstairs to the main floor. He grabs a big old knife from the kitchen. And then We do cut to the outside for a little bit. We see that like Mr. Park and Mr. Kim's being forced to play in some sort of like Indian Native American like play acting thing where like the song is gonna like save the day, and they're wearing like feather like headdresses and stuff, and it's like ugh. And Mr. Kim is just so not interested in this party at all, and Mr. Park's like, may I remind you, like, you're being paid for this.
Yeah.
They're preparing for this big sort of skit.
And they're like hidden behind a bush or something, like
yes, yeah.
Watching this party happen, planning this skit. And then you see...
Yeah, they're waiting for their cue to come on out and be the adversaries in this like little play. But the actual adversary comes out into the backyard with the knife.
Knife in hand.
Knife in hand, bloodied face. Nobody like sees him. And Jessica Kijong, she's like out in the center. Mr. Peaches just runs out there, screams, knife in hand, and just stabs Jessica right in the chest.
Probably my biggest gasp of the movie.
Yeah.
Right through the heart.
Yeah. I just remember seeing this in theaters and like my mouth was just like agape.
Yeah.
Mr. Peaches is shouting like, Chung Suk, where are you, Chung Suk? Everyone at the party is freaking out. The dads get out of the bush and Chung Suk is like steps forward. He goes to attack her with the knife. They like are tousling on the ground. He's like cutting her and they like knock over, I think, the barbecue pit and like a skewer with some weenies on it.
Rolls right into the fight.
Yeah. And Chung Suk just picks up this meat skewer and just stabs Mr. Peach in the side. And Mr. Kim, he's over at his daughter who's like bleeding out on the grass. He looks over at his wife who's like getting up off the ground, trying to get away from Mr. Peaches. Mr. Park goes over and he has to get the car keys, somehow like fell around this area too. So he picks up the car keys, which are near the body of Mr. Peaches now. And as he does, it's like this slow motion shot. You can just see it on Mr. Park's face that like he can smell this thing that's already been established. And Mr. Kim clocks it. He's watching this laser-eyed focus. Just the visual facial disgust Mr. Park has of this poor man who has died and ruined this birthday party. Literally like plugs his nose.
Yeah, plugs
because
his
I guess
nose.
it was so overwhelming. And this is the final shot for Mr. Kim. He gets up, grabs the knife, stabs Mr. Park.
Dead.
Stabs Mr. Park dead and takes off. And here the movie sort of pivots again. Now we sort of enter this like epilogue phase of this movie as we just left this very like intense.
Well, and we see at the end of the party, Dahai, we see her walking away with Kevin, right? Carrying Kevin.
Oh, yes.
Because she had gone in and been like, where's Kevin? And then you see her, like, probably the last shot, you see her walking away with Kevin, like, strewn in her arms. And I was like, wait, Kevin? And... Right, and I was like, wait, did Kevin not die? Because I had counted him out.
Right.
Then, we enter this, what do you call it, an epilogue phase of the movie, which I think is a good way to put it. And you see kind of the aftermath. Yeah,
so we learn that somehow Kiwoo Kevin survived a rock being smashed against his skull twice. Wakes up in the hospital to being arrested with his mom.
I wrote Kevin lives but is super arrested.
Yeah. I imagine due to head injuries, like he like laughs at inappropriate things, but we learn that his sister, Kijong Jessica, she did die. So that was upsetting for me personally because I was like, are you kidding me? Like he had a rock thrown against his head and he lives. But then I remember it's a Best Picture winner. So, you gotta.
A leading lady must go.
Must go. And so, it's Kevin and his mom who kind of get arrested and they're put on parole. They go to the funeral of Jessica and we learn that the dad, Kite, is just missing, disappeared, gone. And Kevin is kind of giving this like voiceover narration. We learned that the Parks, of course, moved out of that home. They moved on. Some German family like moved in instead. But Kevin likes to go there sometimes, look at the house, and it's there that he can see through the big windows that those overhead lights are flickering in Morse code. And Kevin knows, like, oh, I know where my dad went. So we do see at the end of the birthday party, this is where he disappeared to. He went into the bunker where Mrs. Peach's body was still there. So that was never discovered either. No one knew that body was down there. So eventually he had the means to still get in and out of the bunker, steal food, kind of like what Mr. Peaches was doing. So eventually he buries Mrs. Peaches out in the garden and is like living in this bunker and is never going to come out. So this is where like Kevin hoping that one day he can go to university, earn enough money, buy that house so that he could free his dad, because now he knows where he is, but there's no way to get in there and to free him. And we do get like actual like visual shots of him, of us kind of moving through time, Kevin being older, like buying the empty house. His mom is there and we see his dad like emerging from the bunker, going out in the backyard. But then we cut back to, it's just present day Kevin in that subterranean basement apartment. And it's kind of ambiguous whether or not he actually achieved that or that was just what's in his mind. And I do think it's left up to interpretation. And you can argue based on how we know, probably never did achieve that. Because I think it's really hard when you are of lower income. I think it's very hard to get up out of that hole that you are in to be able to do that. So I think the movie, leaves it up to interpretation whether or not he achieved his objective one day, or we're kind of led to believe like this is what he wants, but he's never going to have the resources to achieve this. And his dad probably just dies in the bunker.
For sure. I loved how the director Bong Joon Ho did this because as a, again, first time viewer, I really thought that's what was happening. I was like, oh my God, Kevin made so much money. It's going to be a happy ending. And then for them just to shoot back to him in this below level apartment, still processing what happened, still in this life that he has been in the whole movie. It was just a really cool, shock as a viewer.
And that is how the movie ends.
Yeah.
On that cheery note.
The last line of the movie, again, Kevin is writing this and he's talking to his dad, like, I'm going to make money, I'm going to come save you. And the last line, which I think is a really common thread in all these movies, there's always a pretty iconic last line. But the last line was, take care until then, so long.
It's not as good as Great Caesar's Ghost, a woman, but it's a good closing line.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, what a film.
What a film.
This particular year, I try to watch all the films I either knew were going to be nominated because this was December 2019. And so I went and saw Parasite and I just love it. For me, there's a Psycho-esque turn where you think the movie is one thing and then halfway through it suddenly just pivots in a completely new direction. Such a tonal shift. I loved it. I never could have seen a man in a bunker.
No, ever. Brad and I talk a lot. We definitely like different movies. Brad is more of a psychological fan. Brad really likes sci-fi. Brad really likes things horror, that could not, horror, exactly. Yeah. Things that could not happen in real life or are very far-fetched. Whereas I love Terms of Endearment, that kind of movie. Something where I can see it, I know it could happen in real life, I can empathize because it's something true. And I think this movie was kind of the best of both worlds. I think there were twists and turns. It wasn't mystical at all. I mean, it was definitely hyperbolic in a way in terms of, but I also think it's very true to how these class disparities are. And so I think it was a good film for both of us and it really piqued both of our interests.
Yeah, I would say the first half is very Carly coded and then the second half is very Bradley coded.
Yes, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, I do. I just love it. Was very happy to see this one win Best Picture. Again, I had been kind of running around watching all these movies. Carly will know this. When we worked in university housing, we had to serve on call. In that particular year, I had to be on call for Christmas Day. So I was kind of stranded alone that holiday year. And so this was what I chose to spend with my time on Christmas Eve. I drove up to Cleveland to go to the Stan Lee, this indie little movie theater. And that's where I saw Parasite and I saw Jojo Rabbit right after it, which was nominated for Best Picture.
Wait, sorry, you were on call and you drove an hour away to go see a movie?
No, I started being on call on Christmas Day, but I was still in Ohio for Christmas Eve.
Okay, got it. Not that I'm judging at all, but I was just kind of wait.
I probably could have gone away with it.
100%.
I went to Cleveland on the 24th, and then on Christmas Day, I saw another double feature. It was Uncut Gems, which didn't get nominated, and then I saw Little Women, which did get nominated. So
loved that.
Yeah, there were a few others on Netflix that year that I watched, so I really got through most of these Best Picture nominees, so we'll get to it. But Parasite was far and away the clear winner for me. It was so good. Jojo Rabbit, which I watched right after, was also a very good film. So that was just a great day for me. But I was very happy to see Parasite win. And I'll start with our rating. I'll start with, we are going to use the peach emoji because we only said peaches maybe 30 million times. I thought about the rock emoji, but
ladies.
Ladies, it's a peach.
It's a peach. I will say something kind of ironic is I had gone grocery shopping. You had actually texted me earlier in the day. You saw I was at the grocery store earlier the day that we watched it. And I didn't even know we were going to watch it this evening, but I bought 4 peaches. Is that not nuts?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't always buy peaches either. I just saw them and I was like, oh, those look good. So I bought them and I just thought it was kind of ironic. And all week I've been eating peaches and I can't not think about this movie.
So we're going to do the peach emojis. And for the very first time in our podcasting journey, I'm giving Parasite a 5 out of 5.
Oh,
5
my gosh.
peach emojis. It helps that I already have an existing relationship to this movie, you know, but I really do love it. And because it had been a while since I last watched it, when we did watch it, I was like, this is still just such a good fucking film. Like, it's just that girl. Like,
yeah.
So I'm giving it a 5. I wonder if you'll match my freak.
Yeah. Since I watched this 3 days ago, I have not changed my mind that this is a 5 peach film.
Woo!
And I think throughout this whole thing, we're like, what is a 5 film gonna be? And this is it. I wanna finish the movie and be like, whoa, which is I think exactly what I said to you over FaceTime when we were watching. And it's something I texted my family. I was like, you all need to watch Parasite. And they're all like, eh. But I was like,
Subtitles.
Fine. Yeah, I was like, fine. Okay, one of my sisters did say, ooh, subtitles, I'll just listen to your podcast. But no, that is a 5-star film. In my rating is something that I haven't stopped thinking about and immediately just loved.
I mean, dare I presume when it comes to our rankings, but it's
no question.
This is A1 for me.
A1.
Like this is A1 boarding group for Southwest.
Exactly. Like. Just like the New York Times, I would say this is the number 1 movie on our list for now. For now, maybe always, but for now, out of the 8 films we've watched, it's absolutely A1.
Miles and leagues. I mean, you know, for the other movies in this category, for $1 Million Baby and Platoon, like they all like have themes that are complex, layered, nuanced. But Parasite, it's the most interesting to me. It's so layered. There's really no good guys or bad guys. Like it speaks to something just so real about class levels and the way that we're socialized and the way that we interact with each other. And like perhaps if there was just more human kindness and empathy in this film, things would have turned out differently. But there were structures and things put in place for people to be at the bottom and for people to be at the top in this movie. This movie literally shows you people at the top and people who are living in the bottom, like right underneath your feet, that you have no idea about. Like the more you think about it, the more you're like, oh my God, that's so smart. Oh my God, yeah. Like the layers to this. Who are the actual parasites? Is it the poor people living off of the rich, or is it actually the rich people living off poor people?
Right.
You know, it's just like
so good. The more I dug into Reddit about this movie, like my head is just churning. And I loved it. The characters, the storylines, the twists, the turns, the emotion. Loved it all.
Well, I want to introduce a quick little new segment for us.
Ooh.
Regarding Rotten Tomatoes. So for context.
Brad, I think, has stock in Rotten Tomatoes, by the way.
I am an employee. I faked my credentials to get in. No, I'm somebody that like I do put a lot of stock into the the Rotten Tomato score of a movie. And at this day and age, when it comes to like deciding whether or not I'm going to go see a movie in theaters, because it is so expensive to go to movies these days, I really do kind of rely on a Rotten Tomato score to like tell me whether or not this will be worth going and spending money, or can I wait for it to be on streaming later?
And Brad is putting it lightly at this point. Like if I even mention a movie, Brad already knows the Rotten Tomatoes. He'll be like, it only has a 70 on Rotten Tomatoes. Or he'll be like, Carly, the one awful movie we're both thinking of had, but you were like, we are not going to see that. It has a horrible Rotten Tomatoes score.
1%.
I think it was around that. And we did end up watching it as more of a gag. Do you know what I'm talking about?
He was in the rainforest with my mom as she was researching spiders right before she died. That one.
Isn't anything out of context out of context?
Out of context.
Yes, but if Brad could look up Rotten Tomatoes scores of people, he would. And he would only befriend people with a 80 or higher.
Right. And I think there's certainly, there could be film bros listening to this. I'd be like, oh my God, good Rotten Tomatoes is always whatever. But I have found that a lot of times the score that I see given to the movie really does reflect on how I feel about the movie. And it's very rare where like really like there's a huge gap between me and Rotten Tomatoes. And I don't give any stock into the audience score because they love to just like hate good movies. But I thought it would be fun, and I can't believe I didn't think about it sooner, to just maybe talk about the Rotten Tomato scores of these Best Picture winners. Yeah. And I was curious myself. There is a list out there that has all of the Best Picture winners ranked from highest tomato score to the lowest. And you may be surprised that there are 3 Best Picture winners with a Rotten Tomato score.
Oh, wow.
We haven't gotten to any of them yet, but I can't wait to reveal that when we do get to them.
Yeah.
But I want to first ask you what you think the score is for Parasite. And then I actually pulled all of our other films and what their scores were.
Love. I was going to ask you to do that, but I was like, I don't know. But yeah, love it.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, cool.
What do you think Parasite got?
I think Parasite got... Can you get 100?
You can get 100
okay.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, that's a lot. I would say they got a 99.
Ding, 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 ding.
Really?
You're right. 99%.
What? Okay.
And it's tied with 3 other movies that also have 99%, but that's the highest.
Okay. So Parasite, Titanic, I can't think of the other 2, but those are definitely 2 of them.
Yeah, we'll see when we get there. What the other 99%ers are.
Okay, let me guess the others. Run me through.
Well, yeah, if you want to do... I have them ranked from highest to lowest. Just the 8 films that we've done so far.
Oh, okay.
In terms of what their score is. And you can go and try and guess them if you would like to. But I'm curious. Parasite is at the top for sure of the 8 films that we've covered.
Okay.
I'm curious what you think is the bottom film.
I'm gonna say Wings.
Wrong.
Okay, I've never been wrong before. This is tough.
Notably are allergic to being wrong.
Right. Around the World in 80 Days, does it line up with our
ding,
ranking?
Ding, ding. It does.
Oh my gosh, why didn't I get
So we're
more?
justified.
Why didn't I trust us more?
Around the World in 80 Days got a 72%, which you may still think is pretty high, but it's actually the bottom 6 movies of this list.
Wow. I love that.
So it's really low.
That's awesome.
So I'll go through, I'll give you the movies in their order here, and you can spout off a number if you want to, but...
No, that's okay. Just run me through the list from bottom to top.
So after 80 Days is Terms of Endearment.
Oh, okay.
It had an 81%.
Okay.
Next, from the bottom is Platoon at 89%. And then just above Platoon is $1 Million Baby, which is interesting because we had a big discussion about which was a better film.
Yeah.
But $1 Million Baby does have a 90%, while Platoon has an 89%.
Wow.
So next, if you can believe it, is Oliver with 90% as well. So it ties with $1 Million Baby.
Wow.
Then it's The Apartment at 93%. And in second place, right after Parasite, is Wings, 94%.
Wow. That's pretty cool. And Parasite had 99.
99.
And you're saying 4 total Best Picture winners has that.
Has that score.
Okay,
yep.
cool. Cool. I love this.
Yeah. But can you believe that Wings is that high, though?
No.
I mean, you thought it would be the bottom. But okay, well, let's quickly say who this movie is for.
Yes.
Carly, is Parasite for the girls? Do girls love Parasite?
100%. I think this movie's for anybody and everybody that is old enough to watch it.
My gut impression was no, it's not for the gays, but I think you're right. I just think this movie's universally adored. How can we say it's not for anyone?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say it's for the gays. It's for all of us. And there's something to learn about watching this movie.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you. All right, well, let's talk about the 92nd Academy Awards. Again, this was the earliest they've ever been hosted on February 9th.
I'm on to you, Hollywood.
This year, there was no host. So this is the first that we've covered where there's been a hostless ceremony, but this is not the first time the Oscars has ran a ceremony without a host. But this was the second year in a row. Last year, they did not have a host. I don't know why. I guess we'll find out later. But people actually were really receptive to having no host at the 91st Oscars. So there was none here at the 92nd, and then I believe there's none at the 93rd either. But really with this ceremony, the tides start turning. People are like, we want a host back. And Carly, I'm wondering if you have any strong opinions about having a host at the Oscars.
No, I don't have any strong feelings. I think some hosts do it really well, some hosts don't.
Yeah.
But what I like about the hostless ones is I think you get a lot more from all of the presenters, and you could tell they put a lot of the writing, if not all the writing, into the presenters. And I think the presenters take a lot more freedom in what they're saying and how they're doing. And I think you get a lot more funny bits from a lot of different people than just from a long monologue or the in-between from the host. So I like both. Yeah. I think if a host does it well, I love that. But I think this is a safe way to make sure nobody ruins the show.
I would agree. I think it helps with pacing, to just go the award, the next award, a performance here or whatever. And then with the host, though, they'll come out for maybe a mid-ceremony sort of monologue, some bits, some gags or whatever. And I think there is pros, of course, to having a host that helps kind of tie the whole thing together. They can also help keep things on pace and on track. So no host at this Academy Awards. And this year, people are going to start saying they want a host. Jane Fonda presented the award for Best Picture. So that is who you heard at the start of this recording. And then let's talk about the lesser half. This year, there was a whopping 9 nominees in the Best Picture category. So we're going to run through them a little quickly. But the only movie I did not watch on this nominee list was Ford v. Ferrari, which was Matt Damon and Christian Bale. A lot of people tell me it's a really good movie, but I could not will myself. I literally saw all the others. I just didn't see
Brad,
this race car one.
You are a self-proclaimed completionist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you. It's just surprising. I'm just disappointed.
Sorry to Mr. Ford and Mr. Ferrari. They had 4 nominations this night, and they take home 2 wins. The next movie I did watch, The Irishman, which is a Martin Scorsese, big, epic gangster film. This was on Netflix, so we're now also in this era of streaming-only titles now being nominated, and that is still a discourse, I think, happening today about the quality of those movies and whether or not they have a place in these award ceremonies. But The Irishman, straight to Netflix, it had 10 nominations and 0 wins, which is kind of surprising.
Ouch.
For Martin Scorsese and all that. So maybe this was an anti-streaming sentiment with the voters that year.
Right.
Next is Jojo Rabbit. This was directed by Taika Waititi. That had 6 nominations, 1 win. Next was Joker. So this was the Joaquin Phoenix. You know, it's kind of surprising that it's here because this genre doesn't really get recognized, but it was a movie that had me on edge the whole time. I will say it's violent. And Joaquin Phoenix does turn it out. So 11 nominations. This film had the most nominations this evening. Took home 2 wins. Next is Little Women. This would probably be Carly's, number 2 if Parasite hadn't won. Give it to the Little Women.
I did love it. Greta Gerwig, a woman director. Big fan.
I saw this one on Christmas Day. It was also a packed movie theater, I remember. Our local movie theater. I was like, I didn't realize so many people go to the movies on Christmas Day. But for Little Women, it was packed. And I was sitting next to a guy who clearly was there with his wife. They were like older. And he was asleep the whole movie and snoring audibly. And I was like so frustrated.
No, I would leave.
You don't have to be here.
I would leave or cough loudly to wake his ass up.
Lots of strong performers in that movie, but I just want to always give a shout out to Florence Pugh, who is one of my personal faves. So Little Women had 6 nominations, only 1 win because they hate women. Next one was Marriage Story. Scarlett Johansson's back. She's literally in 2 separate movies here. This was also another Netflix one. I believe Laura Dern was in this one, and Adam Driver. This created a memorable meme where Adam Driver punches the wall. This movie had 6 nominations, only 1 win. The next one is 1917. I did see this one in theaters as well. This one's interesting because it's edited to make it look like one giant long shot throughout the whole movie. Of course, it's cleverly edited, but where you really follow these guys and the camera just stays on them seemingly the entire time. So
very cool.
Pretty cool feature. Had 10 nominations and 3 wins. I think it was the second big winner of the night. And then lastly, there was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This was Quentin Tarantino's still most recent film. Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie had 10 nominations and 2 wins. Really, Parasite is the big winner in terms of wins. It had 6 nominations heading into the night, and it took home 4 wins from those 6 noms. Wow. That's a good percentage rate. It's the first non-English speaking film to win Best Picture. I believe it's the only film to both win Best Picture and also the International Feature Film category. Bong Joon Ho does take home Best Directing, well deserved. This wins Best Writing, to which he also wrote as well. So Original Screenplay, it wins. And because of these 4 wins, Bong Joon Ho is really the second person in Oscars history to basically take home 4 statues. Apparently when you win the International Feature Film category, the award technically goes to the country and not really the specific the movie or the people who made the movie.
Don't like that.
He was there to accept the award on behalf of South Korea. But he's the second one in history to take home 4 statues. The first one was Walt Disney at the 26th Academy Awards.
Wow.
So we'll get to that one day. Oh, I should also say Parasite was also nominated in production design and in editing, but those were the 2 it did not win. Joaquin Phoenix does win Best Lead Actor for Joker, and this is only significant because Heath Ledger also won it for portraying Joker, so this is really the first time that 2 separate men have won the Best Actor category for playing the same role.
Wow, that's really cool.
And this Academy Awards was memorable to me. Again, I did watch this one live, and I had to pull this quote because I just remember it from Bong Joon Ho's speech.
Okay, this is so funny, and I know what you're about to say, because I pulled the quote too, because I remember it to this day, hearing it and being like, damn. So, okay, say it. Yeah.
He drops this line. He says, once you overcome the 1-inch barrier of subtitles, you will be introduced to so many more amazing films.
That gave me body chills. I remember sitting watching these, and I was like, wow.
And he's right. I mean, this movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
There are certainly people in my life who, I joke about Carly being anti-subtitles, but there are genuine people in my life who are truly just like, don't like subtitles. I will say I watch subtitles on everything, English speaking or not.
Totally.
A little bit about this director, about Bong Joon Ho. I just want to talk about some of his other films. He really put South Korea on the map in terms of filmmaking and is probably the most prolific director to come out of there. But he was pretty well established even before Parasite. He really broke into big fame with his movie, The Host, which I think is an interesting title given Parasite and Host. But this one, Carly would not like as much because it does involve like a giant sea creature emerging out of a river.
Oh yeah,
and just
I read
terrorizing.
about this movie.
Yeah. I actually watched this for the first time in prep for this recording because I've heard such good things about it. And I think it is a really good film, but I will say the CGI of the monster is not that great. I mean, this came out maybe like 2008, but I think, Carly, you would have a hard time looking at that monster and being like, that's it. Another one that I knew and had already seen ahead of time was Snowpiercer. This has Chris Evans in it, Octavia Spencer, Tilda Swinton, a lot of famous people in this one. This one was like an English-speaking one, kind of a post-apocalyptic world in which the world has frozen over and all of society is now on this constantly running train that goes around the entire world. In 80 days, I don't know. But that one also dealt with very similar themes to Parasite, where people at the back of the train were treated as less than, treated like garbage, fed, little garbage, and how they sort of resist against that to get to the front of the train. So it is a good one. It also recently just had a TV series on TNT. I think it ran for about 4 years. I did not watch it, but I did also recently watch Snowpiercer in prep for this podcast. And I still think it's my second favorite, certainly after Parasite. And then recently he just had Mickey 17 that just came out, which has Robert Pattinson in it. Also has our faves, Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo are in it. In here, Robert Pattinson plays like a clone, like somebody who's expendable because they're like up in space. This is a very sci-fi. So they'll send this guy out to do dangerous things. And if he dies, they just print out a new clone. So this is the 17th version of him.
Robert Pattinson has got to stop.
He's a good actor. Okay.
I know.
Parasite is currently in development to becoming like a 6-episode miniseries on HBO.
It also has been since 2020, so...
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't think it has dropped off or it's in development hell, but part of me is a little dubious. I think I'm also thinking about like HBO bringing Harry Potter to them as well. It's like, are we just trying to do like an American version of Parasite? Or like, I'm curious what liberties...
I read Adam McKay is tied to it, which not his genre by any means, so I'm interested.
Certainly Parasite has humor to it and it's dark humor and stuff, but not
that much.
Otherwise, not call this a comedy. Right. So I just wanted to highlight some of Bong Joon Ho's films. Like they all have like connective tissue to one another, and you could just tell they're all made with great care, and a lot of them do come with these like tone shifts and things, like the way that a scene could just start off lighthearted and humorous and then just take a turn, or like vice versa. I think this director just does so well. That's a lot of my spiel.
Yeah.
Carly, what came up in your research?
Yeah, so per usual, I dug into the actors, and I didn't find a lot of the actors did not have many, if any, English films, and they're all famous, popular South Korean actors, and they all have a long line of work. So I think in South Korea, these are well-known actors, which I think not knowing them really contributed to the film. Like I was thinking if I were to see this film and I like saw people I know or have seen in other things, like I think it would have taken away a little bit from the experience. So that was something I was thinking of. I guess Kevin, played by Choi Woo-sik, is Canadian. So he was born in South Korea, moved to Canada, and is fluent in English and Korean.
Okay.
But looking at all of his films, really the only two Hollywood English films were, and not that Parasite is one of them, but the only Hollywood film is Okja. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
Yes. Yeah, that's another one of Bong Joon Ho's films.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bong Joon Ho also did that one. So I saw that he was in that one. So I don't know if you continue your watch of all of those films, you might see, it looks like it's centered around a huge pig. So
yeah, that's so far the one I haven't watched yet.
Yeah. Choi Woo-sik is in that movie. And also I read that Choi Woo-sik performed the end credits song for Parasite.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, which I wish I would have known before I watched because I would have paid more attention. I think it was like 10:30 when we finished this movie, so we just kind of shut it off at like 10. And I guess it was entered and put on the short list for Best Original Song, but it did not make the nominee list. So something that I would be interested to go back and listen to. So Kevin, a man of many talents.
Well, that's the thing too about like streaming. Like as soon as a movie ends, it suddenly is trying to like spit you off to the next thing on their platform or whatever.
That is a really good point. And I have a really quick story about end credits that I need to tell. So in 9th grade of high school, I was in this English class, honors English, and we were watching a movie. And I can remember I had the worst period cramps ever that day. And I think we had just watched Dead Poet Society, which is a good movie. I remember watching it, and then the end credits ran, and I remember putting my head down, and I was just, going through it. And my teacher came over to me and tapped my arm and said, "We respect end credits in this class. Please watch." And I think if people from Troy High School heard this, they could maybe guess who it was. But, oh my gosh, the way I was just blown away. And of course, I'm a freshman. I'm like, oh my God, I just got in trouble. But if today Carly were present with 9th grade Carly, I would have been like, shut the fuck up. I have period cramps.
Yeah. Even that particular situation, I still don't really respect end credits. Like, I know that Marvel has done a whole lot to get us to like sit through the whole thing, to watch the thing. And I did buy into that for a while, but I have like stopped. Like like you and I have been to Marvel movies. I'm like, I looked it up. We can just go. It's not anything. It's a nothing burger.
And I feel judgment from the whole audience every time we leave, by the way. But it's like we could be halfway home by the time this end credit thing rolls around. Yeah,
it's fine, people. Like,
it's a 25-second clip. We'll be okay.
Yeah, that's wild, especially like when you're a high schooler. It's like, okay, like what life lesson is there to learn about respecting the end credit?
It was unbelievable, and I remember it to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, totally agree about that. But yeah, this song was performed by Choi Woo-sik, who played Kevin in the movie. A couple other people that came up. Oh, so also talking about Okja, the movie with the big pig. I guess Lee Jung-yoon, who played Mrs. Kim, voices this pig.
Oh, she has a great voice.
Yeah, and I don't know, because I've never seen it, if she just voices the pig like some snorts throughout the movie, or if the pig is actually like personified. Talking. Yeah, I don't know. But she is credited in the movie. I didn't watch the end credits, but on Wikipedia, she's credited as Okja the pig.
I wish I would have watched it before this podcast.
Me too. I was counting on that, but it's fine.
Sorry. I was busy.
Song Kang-ho, who played Mr. Kim, this is his third movie with director Bong Joon Ho. There are 2 English-speaking movies that are well known that he's in. You already said Snowpiercer with director Bong Joon Ho. And then the other one that he's in is The Interview, which was the very...
Ouch, oops.
Yeah, it was the movie that was like set to come out about them trying to kill Kim Jong-un.
Yes.
And then remember...
Yes. It was like James Franco and Seth Rogen. Was that like them?
Which might have been Adam McKay, because that's who he works with a lot, is that group of people.
Yeah.
And Seth Rogen, yes. Kim Jong-un like stopped that movie from coming out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then eventually they were like, fuck it, we're just going to put it out. So... he is in that movie. He's only credited as like military man or something, but it is something in terms of English-speaking films that people would be familiar with. He is in that one. Nobody else really has any big roles that were notable, but again, all of them very famous South Korean actors. Okay, I said before this podcast, before we started, I said I have something that's going to blow you away.
On the edge of my seat this whole time.
I went through the list of all the actors, and I mean, there's only... maybe 12 actors in this whole film that are credited. And I got to the bottom of the list, and I almost didn't even click on him, but I did. The actor who plays Min, named Park Seo-joon, he is in a Marvel movie and has a kind of lead role that you are going to die. So he's in the movie we saw recently called The Marvels.
Yes.
And he is a prince on an island.
Was he the singing guy?
An island where they can only speak in song.
Oh my god.
He was the prince that danced with Brie Larson, Mrs. Marvel, and I'm telling you, I've never seen Brad so annoyed in a movie theater as when they got to this land where, and on the way there, they're like, oh yeah, and they only speak in song. So this actor who played Min and Brie Larson literally talk in song, and it's the most ridiculous scene in any Marvel movie I've ever watched.
Yeah, I was already not super impressed with the Marvels and trying to block out all the review bombing.
I know you hate that there's so many women in it, but yeah.
Yeah, famously so.
Yeah.
But what I hate more is musicals, like
God.
singing in a film.
It was very cringy, even as someone who enjoyed the movie.
It wasn't even well done. This wasn't akin to like Grey's Anatomy's musical episode.
Oh, that's a really good comparison. It was bad. It was very bad. So that is where we would have seen Min before. Okay, so a couple things. None of them were nominated for this film.
No acting nominations for Parasite.
None of them were nominated or won any Oscars for their acting, but the ensemble did win the SAG Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture that year. So,
good.
And I always love the SAG Awards. I don't watch many religiously shows anymore, but I will watch the SAG Awards. It's for the actors, by the actors. I love that kind of like respect that you always see in that. So I do think that's cool, is that the Screen Actors Guild voted for them as the best. So I liked that. Good. I think that's probably a big honor for this South Korean cast. Okay, a few things about the film that I wanted to bring up. So I saw many places that this was the third film ever to win both Best Picture at the Oscars and the most notable award at the Cannes Film Festival, which is called the Palme d'Or. So it's a very big honor to win this award. Yeah. And it was only the third ever. There are 4 now because... I'll tell you the first 2 were The Lost Weekend in 1945, Marty in 1955, and then this film. And then...
interesting. One after this film.
Do you know what it is?
Well, we can scratch out Nomadland, scratch out Coda. It's got to be one that I loved. It's got to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
It was...
Oppenheimer.
Nope. It was our most recent winner, Anora.
Anora got it?
Yeah.
Over Oppie?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I mean, you've never seen Anora. You can't actually judge that.
No, but I know of her.
I know, but there's a woman on the cover. You are not going to watch that until you are forced to with this project. Just give it up. You can't make that judgment.
There also is a woman on the cover of Everything Everywhere All at Once, okay? Yeah. Put some respect.
Whatever. And Coda and Nomadland, but you seem to discredit those films right away. Yeah. I
have seen Nomadland. I have not seen Coda. But
I thought that was a very interesting thing. It's a very small group, and this is one of them. Again, being a South Korean film, I thought it was a very cool honor.
Yeah.
One thing about the movie that I read about, and I went into a deep dive on the Reddits, but somebody was talking about their kitchen table, how it had 10 seats at it. And I thought that was interesting because there's the 4 Parks, the 4 Kims, and then the Peaches, both Peaches. And I think, it was just kind of like a symbol of the house can fit all these people. It can feed all these people. It can host all these people. And that's not...
But they're like warring with each other.
Exactly. So I don't know if that was like intentional. I assume in some level it might have been, but I thought that was an interesting thing to call out. I did want to talk about The Rock, and I think we kind of did throughout the film talk about The Rock and like the symbolism behind The Rock, but I don't know. I just think I read a lot about this rock, and it was called the Scholar's Stone. It's supposed to be a charm for good luck, wealth, prosperity. They go in when it's flooding, and this thing is floating, It's obviously a hollow something. It's obviously not a real stone, or it would have sunk to the ground.
Right.
So I think at that point, and maybe that's why Kevin's mind starts to really think, is like, it's hollow beliefs, it's a hollow, people put all their beliefs in these things and they're just not always real, and it's, fake in a way. So I read a lot about it. Toward the end of the movie, you do see Kevin put the rock into a river, and it just kind of blends in with other rocks. So at that point it sinks to the bottom with all these other rocks. So I don't know, like I did, everyone can go do it, read about it. It's just a very interesting symbol of the movie.
Yeah, it's interesting the fact that Kevin Kiwoo, like, this is his weapon of choice when he goes to that birthday party, to kill them with this object that's meant to sort of represent all these like positive things, and then it is eventually used on him, literally hitting the head with it. So there's probably even some deeper symbolism there.
And a lot of people talked about how when he was going down the steps, he dropped it, and it kind of led to his demise in a way, which also led to his Mr. Peaches getting out and his whole family spiraling. So I don't know. There was just a lot about The Rock to read about. So if you do have like an evening where you're doing nothing and want to read about a rock, I would definitely recommend some good Reddit.
Okay.
And then one more thing I want to talk about, because I thought this was funny, is so at the end of the movie, a new family moves in, and they talk about how it's a German family, and they said the fridge is full of sausage and beer. Like, he just kind of made that like comment, like, I'm Germans, and they filled the fridge with sausage.
Stereotype.
And beer. I guess if you watch it with German subtitles, it translates to an American family moved in.
Oh.
Yeah, it says an American family moved in, and the refrigerator
sausage and beer.
Right. Well, it says the refrigerator is full of burgers and Coke. Isn't that so interesting?
That is very interesting. Like, it's like It's like Germans are like, don't make fun of us and stereotype us. Like, do it to the Americans.
Yeah,
and,
or they almost like
choice.
don't want it to feel familiar to that audience. Like they don't want it to be like, oh, like I moved, we moved in. Like it's almost like they wanted it to feel like a family they aren't familiar with again that moved in. So I just thought that was a really cool thing. And I read an article about the person that translated the film and how like key this person was and making it so iconic even in the English language. And like I wonder if that was a directorial decision between Bong Joon Ho and this translator or whatever. Yeah, so that's really it. I just loved the movie and would watch again. Yeah, I'm so glad that we watched this.
Me too, yeah. When this popped up, it just felt like the right time. Like this is one of the few movies that I have seen, and I'm curious if I will give all of them 5 stars because I do like just hold them all, but I don't want to rush and do all the ones I'm excited to do. But this felt like fitting to do Parasite, because I just wanted to rewatch it after all this time, but also knowing that we had talked about in the $1 Million Baby episode as well about the New York Times article and that Parasite was number 1. So it's like, let's put that to the test. And there's more to think about there, but I think when I initially saw Parasite listed as like number 1 best movie of the 21st century, it's like, really? I don't know, but it is definitely in the conversation. And
yeah, is it in your
it's in the bracket.
Your bracket.
It did make it. I hadn't rewatched it before I like triggered the bracket process. So I do think it's like on the lower end. To me, it's totally justified in like keeping it in the bracket and not replacing it with some other movie. But yeah, it continues to be a favorite film of mine, but probably is not cracking like the top 20.
Oh, wow.
For
okay.
me. There's a ton of movies, and none of the movies that would be in my top 10 are really Best Picture winners. And
like
anybody,
Bring It On beats Parasite.
Like Bring It On. Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, no,
So,
I totally believe that and respect that.
Thank you. I think you're one of the few. But I mean, really, my bracket's really about like my favorite movies. I'm not necessarily making a point about the best movie, but Parasite is undoubtedly just a really good film from start to finish. The 99% is well deserved. I don't even know what could be the minus 1% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I don't know what it could be. Very happy with this movie and where we've rated it and ranked it. And I'm already looking towards the future and our next movie. And should we reveal, Carly?
Let's do it. Drum roll.
We are sticking in this decade. Our next movie is 12 Years a Slave.
I have seen it. Bradley has not.
Yes. Yep. So a little bit of reversal here. And now this is a movie that Carly has seen before and I'm completely new to it. So yeah, all of a sudden we're like getting all these like recent newer movies out of the way. All right. Well, join us next time as we go over 2013's 12 Years a Slave. And as always, Carly, love ya.
Brad, love you lots. Goodbye.
Bye.